I was gonna say that as well. Yeah.
Yeah, this is a good little segue.
All right, Daniel, you go.
Yeah, like run us through the whole Ego Expo, like, because I know a lot of people that you have a lot of like a lot of my friends I know modeled for it. I think it was this year. Like Bonnie or Starboy, Hervé.
Shout out to all these guys.
All these
They're
guys.
legends.
There's another guy I've
You
seen
have to put up
around
all
a
the
lot.
Instagrams because they're all
I'll have to.
so hot. They're all so hot.
Kwabi as well and
Yeah.
all that. Like, yeah, how did you connect with those people? How did Ego Expo come about? Like, you were in the expo area before with
But I was not in the street world.
yeah, you weren't in the
area.
street world side of it and stuff like that. You're wearing West Side right now as well. Shout out to Omar. You know, like it's such a, honestly, there's nothing like that in Australia. Like when I looked into it, because I've heard it like said, like I'm pretty sure it's on the on your website as well. Like, you know, Australia's biggest like streetwear expo. And it's like those are slogans people say for their businesses and stuff, but it's like that's so true when it comes to yours. Like nothing like that exists in Australia. Probably even I don't even know, like down here, Southern Hemisphere or whatever. Not really
New Zealand's doing
anything.
nothing.
Huh?
New Zealand's not going to do something.
Yeah, nothing's popping in New Zealand. It's like
Yeah,
that's,
it's time for us to get
Would
there.
you do that? I was going to say, would you do
Yeah.
an Auckland thing?
Yeah. That's just
But yeah,
a
like, how'd
cash
you-
flow point of view. I'd
Which
take
is
over
the
the world
business
if I could.
Yeah.
But yeah.
yeah. How'd you get into this space? How did it come about? What does ego mean? Like all this. Yeah. So many questions. Sorry.
We touched on it a little bit earlier when I just kind of introduced myself, but it was really the main point of it was I had friends that had independent brands. I think we all know one that starts their label and they warehouse from home or their bedroom, or if they're kind of medium success, it's like they have a garage. And so I was like, this is cool. Like e-commerce businesses are trending, things are happening, Shopify's blooming, everyone's got an online brand. But for me, my core belief is the more high tech we are, the more high touch we need to be. So the more advanced technology is becoming, the more we're going to crave human connection and face-to-face stuff. And so from my expo background, I was like, nah, like people need to meet the founders of the brand. And the founders have a responsibility to meet their customers and talk to them and see, like, you know, nothing's going to beat human connection, a shake of a hand, eye contact. This, we could have just done it online. You could have Skyped me. But like the energy that you feel when you're actually connecting with people is so different. It's invaluable. So that was kind of like the core thing. I wanted to bring businesses, online streetwear businesses, to their customers face to face. Very, very simple problem solving that I was doing. Okay. And then that just meant, okay, you could do a pop-up store. However, a pop-up store, the brand might not have a big enough community and they might not, it rent's expensive at Chadstone or anything like that, crazy expensive. So why not do like essentially a whole bunch of mini pop-ups under the one roof with 100 streetwear brands because they're all going to bring mini communities, but look at that.
It all just grows like that. Yeah.
So I'm like, one person makes a huge difference. I treat everyone with respect and kindness because it's like, even if it's your mum and your dad and your cousin that's coming through, 3 people that's coming through to see all the other brands.
Yeah.
And as a community, I'm more into collaboration than competitiveness.
Oh, 100%.
And so that's kind of like really how it started. And I'm very, very proud that our foundations are built on such strong values. Everyone that comes through, it's screened. Everyone that comes through, we can get a million models, but everyone that comes through has to live and breathe sort of those values about collaboration, about connection, about, like, you know, we're fighting for something. Let's make sure we're on the same mission. So if we can all celebrate each other's stories, then that's what I'm really proud of. So that's kind of really how it started. And then I just started knocking on a lot of doors and having that, if you're going to start something and you're willing to try and like create something that's never been created before, you're going to have to start taking risks that no one else has ever done before. So it was a lot of no's before you could get a yes, but realizing that it's like, that's cool. Like eventually someone out there's going to vibe in this vision and go for it. When I first started, think about it, there's nothing. So it's like you're selling something on unicorns, you might as well. There's no statistics, there's no data. We have a lot of that now at Ego Expo. We know we get 2,000 people coming through the doors. Like we know this stuff because of what our audience is telling us. We know what brands they like because we track sales. So then we get new brands that are popping and new brands that are coming, and then we kind of tweak things. So like between the first year and the second year, we now added ego talk panels, industry panels, because we're finding that we've got a lot of people wanting to start a brand but don't know how. So now we're giving that educational element, like a podcast or something that's like able to get that live Q&A sort of vibe.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like where it evolves. Ego is always evolving. So let's get down to why I like the name Ego Expo. Just want to shout out to Liv Porter, now my project manager. So Liv and I worked in hospitality together, both scraping plates, serving garlic bread.
Like you said, the dream, yeah.
Yeah, right. But
How do you not just stop yourself from going back to that? I'm playing.
You know what though?
The resting has started.
But if I needed to,
Yeah.
You
I
would. Of course.
Yeah,
Of course.
Yeah.
If I needed to, I would. I just,
100%.
whatever. You got to pay bills at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Do this on the side. There's always
Yeah.
something. So we were then trying to think of a name. I was like, okay, this is the idea. This is what the value we're going to get. And we could have gone with Australia's streetwearexpo.com. But
Thank God you
but
didn't.
like, it just wasn't really sitting with me. And we were like, we don't want to be, I'm so deep. Like, look at this conversation. Look how far I've gone. Like, I needed something to represent like me and the brand. So we were just like tossing up between names, all of this sort of stuff, like just trying to find like a thesaurus out literally on a mattress. I didn't have a bed frame at the time. So we were like on a mattress on my floor, just flicking through stuff. And then it was kind of like, I think something happened and I was just like, his ego will kill him. And that then was like Ego Expo. And then I was like, just said it. And we just sat on it for a bit. And I'm like, no, I really like Ego Expo.
Yeah.
So I then went and did a huge research on like ego, and I was like, yeah, ego's always had a negative connotation. It's always been like negative when we talk about an ego. And so is streetwear. Streetwear's always been seen as a negative. But we know there's more to us than meets the ego. There's the spirit.
Yeah.
And we also know there's more to us than the clothes that we wear.
Yeah.
So the brands that we wear. I'm interested in what's behind the ego. I'm interested in what's behind the brand's logo. So Ego Expo is all about that. It's about identity. Fashion feeds our identity. You either dress it up or you play it down. And streetwear's always been in that melting pot of, is it high-end fashion? Because now it's got a place there with Louis Vuitton and Gucci and everything. But then
Virgil's taken over Louis Vuitton now,
right, exactly. And we're at a time now where someone like Virgil can be the male
which is
art
crazy.
director for a high-end fashion brand.
That's actually insane.
Right. It's not. History has told us that is not possible. History has told us that streetwear is LA hip hop, hood, low,
Scary.
Urban.
Scary, urban, oversized t-shirts. Don't get it.
4XL.
Like 100. But then you start seeing these stories, and it's like the people that have been in street culture have always known that this was going to happen. This is inevitable. That's hip hop culture will now become pop mainstream culture. People are wanting it, and why? Because it's the only culture that screams authenticity. It's the only culture that's rapping and singing about the truth, about everything, exposing things about everything.
That's so true.
And now people want a bit more of it. And people are wanting more and more and more of it. Or people are at least curious enough to play with the idea of it and understanding it. So there's so much history to Ego Expo. There was research in it. There was
no one would know this as well. Like,
yeah, I know. I think people just, but I don't do it for show.
Yeah.
So I didn't create Ego Expo to be like I would have just called it Australia's biggest streetwear expo if I wanted to be the one that was the most biggest and largest and out there. But for me, it's always been about art and creativity and my story. Like intertwine all of that. It's about community.
Yeah.
Intertwine all of that at its core basic. It's like, how do I connect more and more people and give them more and more opportunities?
Awesome.
And now Ego Expo, I'm so proud to be able to say these up and coming photographers have been able to collaborate with models like Kwabi, who's modeled for Champion, and just network.
Some crazy photos and just shoots that all these guys are doing.
But all these guys are really, like, all of them are amazing and incredible. Benita's in LA now doing so much work. There's just so much that, not saying we did that.
You facilitated.
But
it's not. We're just one ripple effect or one spark that can help people create an opportunity. You still have to get to the event and you still have to network.
Yeah.
Like I'm seeing people hustling like, hey, I'm a graphic designer or I'm a videographer. Like they're networking and they're getting it out there. Omar didn't create Westside Apparel just from like waking up and then suddenly everyone loved it.
Yeah.
He's utilized these expos.
Come a long way,
I saw Game rocking one of his tops or something. That's crazy.
He's utilizing not only these expos, but these activations or his brand and then cultivating a community. Yeah. And that's what we're doing is we started off with DMs in Instagram to people. I never knew Kwabi. I never knew these guys, but a DM, and if they vibe with the same energy, they'll connect. And now I can really proudly call them my friends. Like Shane Tino just did Melbourne Fashion Week and was on the runway. And, you know, just these real people that just genuinely support our mission and what Ego Expo is about is how we've gotten to who we are. Like people from the suburbs are knowing us. People from other states want to come down. We have brands that fly in from Adelaide, Sydney, and Gold Coast. So yeah, it's pretty exciting.
You can take that. That's a big up. That's a big up that you can have.
Drop a bomb for it.
Yeah, drop a bomb for it. We got sound effects.
You waited that long for sound effects?
I actually forgot we had them until now.
Forget. There were so many things that you said that I wanted to press, but I knew it was going to be a shock, so I just left it.
With Instagram, right? So it's crazy. Like that's actually how so much knowledge comes around now for things. And I've seen Ego Expo in the past. I hadn't heard of you.
That's okay.
Somebody shared, I think you tagged someone that I know in one of your stories recently. I clicked on it. I was like, she looks super interesting. We should get her on the podcast. That's literally how I ended up finding out about you. I was like, is it
we're gonna have to find out who that person is and thank them and give them a shout out.
Yeah, for sure. I was like, is it super unprofessional if I just drop a DM? But then I was like, you know, it was unprofessional either way because I was emailing like 4 days after she replies and everything. So I was like, what am I doing?
Man.
But he was a very mystery man. But
what I'm saying is it's all Instagram, right? And how much business and collaboration and stuff has that attracted at this point?
So this is going into more business. I don't know if you have much people on your business podcast, but let's just talk a bit about business.
Down for everything.
But so in our first year of Ego Expo, our marketing strategy was everything. We did traditional media, non-traditional media, online. We just sprayed it everywhere, and like we just didn't really know what was going to work because again, the event never existed.
Shot, right?
But it was really poorly executed because we if anyone remembers 2018 show, we had trams. We had billboards. We had radio. We were on Fox FM.
That's expensive.
Really?
Thank you. Yeah, my bank account knows that now.
To this day.
I'm almost like, why did you do that?
My ego
Still
got in
paying
the
for
way.
it.
Yeah, I'm still. So we kind of was like, let's do all of this stuff and get all the hype and the action out, and like we put a bit into Facebook, put a bit into Instagram, and then what we learned from the data from the first year is basically everyone just came through social media. So I'm talking like a difference between like $20,000.
That's wild.
In marketing.
That's so wild.
If we funneled that 20K that I've lost now, but it's
almost scary.
But yeah.
Learning curve.
Yeah, learning curve. It's a very, very expensive investment. So if anyone wants marketing help, come to me and let me help you because I'm now but we learn from our mistakes and we learn from our failures. So from looking at all the data and actually realizing this might not work for everyone. So if you're in actually, you know what? It will.
Yeah.
Every business
nowadays.
Actually, you know what? I take that back. Every business, any business you're in, whether you are an accountant or a concreter, Instagram and Facebook are the channels that you will use because everyone has an account.
Yeah.
And if everyone has an account, it means you can target them.
Yeah.
And so that was what I loved about social media and Instagram. So our audience, if you check out Ego Expo, our audience is very young. They're millennials, there's pop culture. If they don't have a phone, they're probably not going to know about our event, and that's cool because they're not our target market. And we just then we funneled everything. So from our 2019 show, the only advertising we did was social media, and it yielded a better result and a cheaper and more effective result. So Instagram is huge, and people I think what we do really well is we don't have macro influencers, we have micro influencers.
Yeah, okay.
And because we care about community. So we don't care if you have 2.1 million followers. It doesn't really interest us.
That's so true. I don't know did you guys see this at the start of the year? Some girl had she's an Instagram
T-shirts?
model. The t-shirts.
She didn't sell 10 t-shirts and she had 3 million followers.
She has 3 million followers, couldn't sell like 10 t-shirts.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm gonna start my own brand or something. Because they have like no interaction.
Close down the brand. Yeah.
It's why sometimes you go on these like Instagram models and they got like 3 million followers and they get like 20,000 likes. It doesn't add up, right? Because if I have 500 and I get 100 likes,
your engagement's actually better.
Yeah, right? So it's like, comments
are really important. Now that Instagram's removed likes, which I am a huge advocate for, question whether it is for mental health or whatnot. But
we had a discussion about that.
Cool. But comments, interact with your community. If you're seeing people like you can go look on Mally U, my Instagram. People are genuinely commenting feedback, and what I do really like, people that DM me, I then screenshot and repost it to show that my engagement's real. My audience is real. People are really connected with what I'm doing with my life, and it's a privilege. I'll never dishonor that, and I'll never give them content that starts. You'll never see me start selling a product that I don't believe in or anything like that, because I I respect my community so much, so much.
It's like without the community, you don't even have what you're trying to push or believe in. So
So we seek influencers like Javed and anyone like that has a community and their local community, so that they can then, if they talk about Ego Expo, they're gonna come.
Yeah.
Because they're not from England.
Yeah.
But if you're from England, come
Welcome.
through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's so true. That's awesome.
Usually I'm like,